Howdy y'all, welcome back to another modded Minecraft Less is More video. Today we're going to do a little upgrades. We're going to prep for better fuel production, and by fuel production I mean ethanol. The only way to get fuel in with the mods that are installed in here, and fuel is the orange stuff over there, is from Buildcraft oil wells or oil deposits or whatever you want to call them, and or bees. And to make the bees I would either need an oily or a refined bee. And from what I can tell, I will need a monastic bee, which only comes from villagers. Now I do actually have a village now. I do have two, honestly. If we zoom out and we go way, where the hell is it? Up here. I actually flew right past it once, and because the flight path took me up and then over here, and I missed it. Just luckily I caught it, and it's a really big village, and I'm just not having any luck. I was using a trader from Railcraft, and there's another one right up here. It's a little tiny village, not too much in there, but I've got to get some sort of trade thing going with these guys. I haven't spent a lot of time up there, so we'll get to that. But I would need a monastic bee to be able to produce fuel. This one is actually from just two separate oil wells. These things are huge. What you want to look for when you're out looking for oil is you don't want just the puddles on the ground. Screw those, leave those alone. I mean, if you got the time, pick them up. But I mean, if you're looking for massive amounts of oil, you want the spouts. The taller and bigger the spout, the bigger the chamber is down below. Kind of swim down there, look down, and if there's a hole, swim down there and just see how big that chamber is with the oil in it. I was able to pull probably 1 million out of a smaller one, and it's still on the second one, still pulling out of there. Ethanol is now full, but I want to upgrade the actual production. And by production, I mean the items that we use to produce it. Now, last video we just had this section, and I added in a secondary section. This is a little bit more straightforward. What we have is two squeezers. They're taking the apples over there, they're turning it into juice, fruit juice, which we need to go over into our fermenters. This gives us about 150 more millibuckets per making of biomass than without it. And right now we're just using apple oak saplings, and the mulch comes from the process. You can see right there, it produces the mulch of the squeezing. So they're all kind of connected together. And then once all that's made, it comes over here. I have two fermenters, and then because they're really fast, and I've got 3 stills. The stills are pretty slow. You can see their progress is pretty slow. And then what it produces, it takes the fermented biomass and distills it down into ethanol, which then goes into a resonant tank, which is then pumped out and sent over to our Railcraft tank. So there's 4,000 buckets in that one, and this will hold an additional 512, kind of a buffer tank. But what I want to do is upgrade these two items right here. If we look at juice, or well, yeah, juice. Let's look at juice first here. If we look at juice and what produces it, if we look at papayas, which I have, if we look out here, that's a little papaya grove. It's on a forestry farm, and it does have one of our what is it, fruity bees or something like that, that's supposed to have the ripening effect. Now the difference is pretty significant. If you look at the papaya, you can see it does a 600 millibucket per fruit. But then if we come over here to the apple, you can see it's only doing 200. So we're getting a lot more per papaya, and it has the same actually, does it have less chance? Yeah, it's got less chance for mulch, but that's okay. I mean, if we need to, We can produce compost, which will do the same thing. And since we haven't been touching wheat for a while, we've got quite a bit of that. And you'll see, you'll start seeing that I'm changing out the barrels for these caches, the cache. Um, and the reason for that, is this thing still working? Yeah, okay. I've never really used these things, and I started looking at them, and they hold a lot, and they're a lot easier to kind of upgrade than the Java barrels. The Java barrels are a pain in the ass. To get up to this level takes a lot of crafting. These, the first ones are pretty easy, and they hold more than the basic barrel, and then each one after that increases. So I got to pause for the cause, just real quick, emergency break, and we'll be right back. So sorry for all the interruptions. Everybody just wants to just come in here and slam the door, and it's just loud and noisy. But yeah, you'll see if we go back over to the base that I've really moved over to the cache. I really like these things. I was a little kind of at first thought, well, I can't see the number, but usually I get close enough to mouse over them to look. If you don't have the what does that, NEI or item something or other, you have to use a multimeter sneak and click it, and it'll tell you what's in there, what's what. You can lock them. When you hear that high pitch click, that's the lock. When you hear the low pitch click, that's unlock. So we want to keep that locked. And we're also producing seed oil over here. I want to make sure that I have plenty of seed oil to have kind of a factory set up to make the alveoli parts, and a big part of that is seed oil. That's why I went to all that trouble to get those chestnuts. Just you can see, I mean, this thing's been running for a long time, and this is just like really in 64 stacks or something like that, maybe a little over. But with the chestnuts, it's kicking out. We're actually filling a tank up out there, another 4,000 buckets of that. So once we get that all full, then I will probably start some production. Probably need to run a few Imperial bees to start to build up more, but that's going to be pretty soon. We're going to have the alveoles up and going. I'm not going to do it here. I think the little damn particle effects from the bees kind of lag me out a little bit, because when I come up here all the time, it's probably hard to see on screen, but there's all kinds of little bee particles. You can really see them at night. During the day it's a little bit harder, but at night you can really see them. There's all these little bee particles that are up there flying around from the industrial apiaries. But what we're going to do as far as biomass is I want to make more biomass per, so it'll just it'll keep up. I'm not worried about the speed. I'm worried about being able to keep up with demand. So if we look at biomass, right now we're using apple oak saplings, and you see it gives us 250 millibuckets. So basically it takes 4 of these to make a bucket, which isn't bad. I mean, it runs so fast that if we were just using straight biomass, that'd be fine. But we can do better. We have the hill cherry sapling, which is 750 millibuckets. It's almost a bucket per sapling. And I have these, and I've grown a bunch, and got a bunch of saplings off of them. So what I'm waiting for right now is basically I've got to redo these 2 farms with hill cherry. So I've shut the power off. I'm going to clean these out, both of these, replant them with the hill cherries, which kind of sucks because they're pink, but hey, we're not after, aesthetics isn't our problem with fuel. We just want the fuel. And then I'll have to add stuff for them to come in over there. But first I'm going to let all those saplings and apples drain out over there to just kind of get rid of them. I don't want them. Yeah, I may let them go, not all the way out, but. And then I have to change this out down here because this is not going to be the normal wood. This is going to be cherry wood. So this will all get changed. not too much. It's probably gonna, there'll be a cache here for the wood, um, but how it gets over here, because they don't have the B-space barrels for, I guess I could make, I've got plenty of stuff to make B-space barrels, so I could probably, because I broke down all the other barrels, so I don't know, I may actually go B-space barrels again, just because I've already got all the stuff made up for them. If we, because I took all the ones that were in our base over here, all these barrels, I took all these out, and of course all those had a lot of upgrades on them, so I actually do not have the B space upgrade, but those are easy to make. But I got plenty of stuff to make barrels. You know what? I'm probably still gonna go with the cache, just because these things on the there's only like 4 tiers if you look at them. If I can hit the right button, there's only 4 tiers. This one's a creative one. I haven't messed with that creative mode, so I don't really know what that does. But you can see each one. First one's real cheap. Second one, you're just adding some Invar. It's just kind of like upgrading your machines. Goes through the same route. Invar glass, and then of course Enderium, which we can make plenty of Ender right now, or Ender pearls. You can see this is a 10,000. It's got 7,093 out of 10,000 already in it. Our kind of holdup is the shiny ingot. I think I can eventually get a bee that will make that stuff for me also. Like I said, I'm gonna stick with alvearies for now, just because I'm not comfortable with the amount of power that I'm able to put out. Because the only thing I have running off of the ethanol is these right here, these 16 compression dynamos. And then this is pretty much what's powering all the farms, the bases, the refinery, and this is our charcoal. And it is, even with all that stuff running, it is steadily going up. Probably an hour ago or 2 hours ago, it was about 190, something like that, 192. So it's gone up quite a bit just in that short time. You see this little thing down here. I've also made a couple of new spawners. Did a skeleton and a blaze up in that area with the what was that, extract? What were those plate? What was that plate thing called? I finally figured out why they were kind of sticking out up there. What was that damn plate called? Excursion plate. Is I had the ones that were pushing them towards the middle at the front too high, so they were just kind of get stuck in midair up there. So I just lowered them a block, and they fall right into place after that. I still need to raise it a little bit so I can get a better spawn rate out of there. But I do have, that's a tier 5 spawner now. But like I was saying, I'm going to stick to alvearies for now, because I just really, I don't want to get myself caught up where I'm completely out of power by going through resources. So I want to make sure I have plenty of fuel, and then I can generate it in a quick enough time period to keep up. So we'll be doing probably some steam boilers with the from Railcraft with the ethanol, or maybe the fuel. I'm not sure which one yet. And just so I can make sure that I have sufficient power to run those little industrial aviaries, because upgraded. Oops! Oh, look back inside before I get creepered. They like to hang out right outside of that door. And unfortunately, unless I move that portal back a block, as soon as you come out, it also it opens the front door. You see, like, as soon as you come out, since they're both on that pressure plate. Yep, I knew it. No, get away! You waiting for me? I wasn't ready for you. Stupid things. I gotta light this area up. It's not something I've been messing around with. Because another thing I found going through there, and I've never used before, was a teleport plate from thermal expansion. These, you just step on it, you link it with your multimeter to another one. You just name it, or you name both the plates, and then you can go in there and kind of link them. I don't have a multimeter on me, but It'll give you a little GUI kind of telling you where to go. And then you stand on it. It's not instant. You can kind of see, you get the little particle effects, and then boop, you're over into the area you want to be in. So the goal, and I'll probably I'll come back here in just a minute, is to get the tree farms upgraded and get it producing, so that when these are all used up, which will take a long time, we'll have plenty of resources ready to take over so we'll be getting more from the same amount of stuff, if that makes any sense. So we won't have to worry about ever running out, because these actually, when it's on full production, this was at almost 800, and this one was around 1800, but it was kind of keeping up. I shut it off about an hour ago, so it's the quarry is running and it's using the ethanol power, so it is still producing, just not the full. Well, yeah, no, it's still producing full out because it hadn't filled this all the way up yet. So as soon as this kind of runs, well, no, I just got to go do it. I got to go change the tree farms to the hill cherry. So I'll be back in just a second for you. All right, several hours later and into the next day, we got everything done. Bunch of just little stupid things that I wasn't paying attention to. I kept having to come back over here and tweaking this and tweaking that. But you can see we've got in all the hill cherry saplings. They're not as fast growing, I don't think, as the apple oak or oak apple, whatever were. I did add a couple blooming bees to each, on top of each one, hopefully to help it along. There's also, I don't think there's as much wood per sapling as the other ones, but it's still keeping 2 furnaces going. Of course, we had 3 running with the other one, and we were gaining. But I've checked the charcoal, and it's still going pretty good. One of the tweaks I had to make is these things will drop cherries. Not very often, but they do, and they will clog up the whole crap because they won't come out of here because they don't have anywhere to go. So I added in a void chest, and for whatever reason, even though it shouldn't, because I added a dense pipe down here, so this should make it like the longest path. I was still getting wood and saplings going into there, so I put a filter on that, fixed that. Just a bunch of little crap, you have to kind of pay attention to. But it's all up and going. It's going to be a little bit before we can use it. I don't know how much stuff I lost in the time that I didn't have that fixed. But to finish it off real quick, this episode, go take a look at what we've got over here. Let's see, we've got over 2,000 papaya now, and we're coming up. Now that I've got that fixed, I couldn't figure out why I was only getting like one every once in a while. So that's fixed now. So eventually this will wear out. Right now the only thing that's running off of this is the quarry. So as soon as that's done running, I'll probably switch over, let this run for a little while, and before I switch over. This I'm probably going to get rid of the squeezer and try a liquid something or other. Thermal expansion thing. Yeah, I can remember the name. So we're looking to have a pretty good. I mean, this setup is nice. I mean, this is nice, but what we want is out of each sapling and each, the whatever's producing fruit, we want the most that we can get out of it, and this will give us more per item than the what are these, apple oak and the apples. The papaya and the hill cherry will give us more. Like this is 250, I think this is what, 750, something like that. So it'll be much better when we get there, and we need to start using it. So guys, I appreciate you coming by. Till next time, I will see y'all later.